What's up, everyone? Welcome into another episode of 32-Minute Warning. We are into episode number 2. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you being here. By the way, if you are here, if you found us on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, drop us a like, helps us out, lets us know that you are watching. I'm Chad Landers. Can't be more excited to have you along. Tim Reedy is here. How you feeling? How'd you feel after episode 1 there, Tim?
Very good. As you and I were talking a little bit long, but I loved the way we were animated. I had some friends and family watch it, and they said, "Boy, you're a lot different than you both are on Sports Talk." And I said, "Well, I said you got to be a little bit more reserved and quiet on Sports Talk, but this is Chad and I's, podcast, not affiliated with any way with Blue Ridge Cable, and this is how we talk all the time. Again, we are there at halftime. We're there, at games, and we are very animated, and that's what we really like to do. So that's what this podcast is all about. We will argue at some point. Maybe this episode, but maybe episode's coming.
That's the comment I got from a couple of guys that I work with. Is like, I thought you guys were going to argue. Well, It was the opening show. It's not like we were going to throw fists.
We're Cowboys fans. We hate the Eagles. We're not going to argue that stuff.
So yeah, but no, we are excited to kind of get back into another episode. It's been a couple of weeks. Again, we're not doing it every week. We just have busy schedules, but we are excited to do it here every couple of weeks for you guys. Let's set up the topics for this week. Of course, we're going to be talking NFL, and we'll dive into week 1. Kind of how the Cowboys did, how the Eagles did, how the NFC looks, and some other topics in the NFL. So excited to get your reactions because honestly, I don't think you and I have talked about that a whole lot. We'll talk about Penn State. Really excited about kind of what Penn State's off to start here. And we'll talk about that and kind of what's coming down the road for Penn State. Then we'll talk high school football. We love that. A lot of great things to talk there. And then we'll wrap everything up in the fourth quarter, which right now is kind of a question mark. So we'll see what we get to. And Tim, I cannot wait to tell you who our halftime guest is. You don't know. Any guesses?
Oh, you have not told me. So
yeah,
I have no idea.
Who you might think would be on the program?
Any guesses? I don't know if it's...
What's a big one I could get for us?
A big one that you could get?
Yeah.
How about Coach Matt Nagy?
Wow, that would be big.
That's big.
I'll have to work on that. I do have some connections.
Christian Pulisic.
That's another good one. It is actually Mannheim Central grad, Penn State grad, Graham Zug.
Oh, nice get. Yeah, nice get.
On the halftime. Excited to talk to him. He's got the Penn State connection, so we can talk about all that. And he's got the Mannheim high school football connection. Really excited to hear from him. So,
well, no disrespect to Graham. He's not as big as Matt Nagy, but honestly, he is a big name in this area. So nice get.
There we go. All right. So we got 32 minutes to do the show here. Again, we ran a little long in episode 1, so we're going to try and cut that back here in episode 2. Here, we're going to put 32 minutes on the clock, and we are going to get started with it right now. All right, Tim. So first topic is the NFL. And of course, when we're talking the NFL, our bread and butter is the NFC East. And that means, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Giants, Washington. Not another great start to the season for the NFC East. The only team to win was the Eagles, but the Cowboys kicked off the NFL season in week 1 in such fantastic form against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champs. And there was a time, Tim, in that game when I'm sitting here thinking, we're about to beat the Super Bowl champs. What were you thinking there towards the middle to end of that game?
Obviously, it was touch and go at the beginning. I thought the offense was playing well. Defense was a little shaky, but as it got into the third and fourth quarter, the momentum, Chad, seemed to be with the boys in blue. And you had Tom Brady throwing some interceptions. I thought that despite everything else, despite some bad calls that Dallas had down at the part in the fourth quarter and so forth, they were actually going to do this. And it didn't seem that way at the beginning. Look, Dallas had all the hurdles to overcome. Super Bowl champions, Tom Brady, they were playing in their house. I thought that they were going to do it. If there is such a thing as a moral win, I'll take it.
That's true. I mean, I pretty much thought that that Tampa Bay was just going to run them over. So
Mhm.
even just looking good or being close, I was fine with. But when they were marching down the field, end of the game, potentially about to score a touchdown and go ahead, but then they kick the field goal, and there's about a minute and a half to go. I'm thinking, we're winning this. I'm sitting in our house, everyone's asleep, all the women are asleep. I'm watching this game in the dark, and I'm thinking, if they beat these guys right now, how loud am I allowed to yell without waking up my family?
Well, you just take a nap or you take a pillow or something. But yeah, I do have to say though, the defense disappointed me. I thought they'd be a little better. Micah Parsons, great athlete, but boy, he made some rookie mistakes. There was some stuff that they pointed out that he was not in the right position to make plays. That stuff is going to get cleaned up from week 1 to week 2. Didn't have a great game for him. Look, I believe Micah Parsons is going to be a great NFL player, but rookie mistakes happen. But again, proud of the Cowboys. They are 0-1, but I think they're a little bit better than I maybe thought that they were going to be.
No, I agree. And it gave me a lot of hope because I said they're going to lose that game. They lose that game. Okay, fine. I'm not incredibly upset. I think they're going to win the NFC East and go on and make the playoffs. However, then the Eagles play and they don't look as bad as I thought they were. So now I'm thinking that, if the Cowboys are here, now the Eagles have kind of raised their stock and Washington's has fallen a little bit with a hurt QB. Now I'm thinking Eagles have a shot in the division. We were not high on them in episode 1. Has your thoughts changed at all on the Eagles?
I was surprised at the amount that they scored. I knew Jalen Hurts was going to play well. I think the Falcons are terrible, Chad.
They are.
And I know it was down in Atlanta. The Eagles played so well, but I holding out hope that they're not as good as what we originally said they were. They're just not a great football team. They just happened to catch fire in week 1 against a very bad football team. But boy, look at the Giants, how bad they are. Daniel Jones fumbling a couple of times. And oh my gosh, Washington, Fitzmagic, he goes down. And I think that's one thing that you brought up in the first episode. They're only going to go as far, the Washington football team, as their quarterback does.
Well, and that's why I bumped them down now. I thought maybe second challenging for first. I think they go down to 3 now if he's not healthy. And I don't think the defense can do it all for them. I've been looking at the Eagles schedule and the Cowboys schedule. Mm-hmm. So first 6 games, I kind of have it pegged as the Cowboys could be as good as 4-2 and the Eagles at 2-4. And then maybe they both wind up at 3-3, but that's kind of the way I see it. Cowboys 4-2 first 6, Eagles 2-4 first 6, and I think
Eagles and Cowboys play a Monday night game, don't they, Chad? Coming up in a couple of weeks down at Jerry's.
So they play the Chargers in week 2. They play at home against the Eagles in week 3. Then they play the Carolina Panthers at home in week 4, and then the Giants. They also have them at home. So they got 3 home games in a row there: Eagles, Panthers, Giants. They've got to win all 3 of those games.
If they don't win all 3 of those games, I'm going to be on the bandwagon that they need to do some wholesale changes. Wow. The Chargers, that's going to be out there. That's going to be a difficult game. I want to go back though to Dallas, get your opinion here a little bit. Yeah. Greg Zuerlein killed us at that game.
I know.
I'm telling you, Chad, they were terrible field goals. Terrible.
And he missed an extra point too, right?
Missed an extra point, a couple of field goals, and they weren't even close.
Those are one of those where he makes any of those, we are beating the Super Bowl champs. So Correct. It's just it was so close. But that's kind of how it goes. Again, is Dallas the best team in the NFC? No. But can they be a playoff team and potentially win a game? Sure. I think so, especially the way Dak played. And we're about to run out of time here in the first quarter. But I was very encouraged. And I think if they stay healthy now, they lost DeMarcus Lawrence on the D line already in practice. That hurts with the broken foot. They've got some guys out to COVID, but here we go at the end of the first quarter. But yeah, I tell you what, man.
Dallas is not going to be able to score 40 points a game though, Chad.
I agree.
As much as that offense can do it.
I mean, Dak looked good. You have to admit, Dak looked good, right? Yeah.
He surpassed any expectations that I had. I didn't see anything that he looked bad as far as throwing, as far as planting that foot or anything like that. His knee looked fine, And I don't know what happened to him, but he looks more of a leader now than he did a couple of years ago.
Good. We need it. I mean, first of all,
that is Dak's team.
We're paying him the money, so we need him to act like one. But, like he's the future of our franchise for the next 3 to 4 years. So we need him to be, a leader. Boy.
One of the games that surprised me, I don't know how much time we have left, but Pittsburgh beating Buffalo, going up there and beating them.
All right,
that was a defensive win. My God.
The first quarter's over, so we can talk for a few minutes here. I do want to, teams that look good. So you said Pittsburgh, that's kind of shocked you a little bit, beating Buffalo. The Bucks, Saints, Chiefs, 49ers, Cardinals, Rams, they all looked solid. By the way, here's a hilarious statistic. The NFC West and the AFC West both went 4-0 in week one. How about that?
I didn't realize that. And the Cardinals played well. My goodness. I didn't realize all the weapons they have as far
That's
as
the toughest division in the NFL.
Oh, my word,
the Rams, you've got the Cardinals, the Seahawks, and the 49ers. Like one or two of those teams aren't going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, people were talking right before the season, 49ers or Rams making the playoffs, Rams winning the Super Bowl. And you're right. Cardinals look so much better than everybody thought. And the Seahawks, my gosh, Russell Wilson's out there. How do you discount him? Did you get a chance to watch the Raiders game on Monday night?
I didn't see the end. I've heard people talk about it.
Yeah, a little crazy, but
it sounded
was
crazy.
Kind of weird seeing the Las Vegas Raiders and seeing everybody.
I also do want to tell you another hilarious first week stat from the NFL.
Sure.
First place teams, the Texans, the Dolphins, the Bengals, the Eagles, the Panthers, and technically the Lions and the Bears are in first place as well at 0-1 since that entire division went 0-1. Hilarious.
Well, and a big surprise too, then you talk about 0-1 teams, the Packers.
Yeah.
Boy, they looked awful.
They did. But it's, again, I said on Twitter, I think, it's week one. So whether the Cowboys win or lose, it's not going to mean I'm giving up on the season. And it's the same thing for the Packers. It's week one. You can adjust. Right. They could go 16-1. They could go 15-2, and week one doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? So you can't throw the towel in on the Cowboys, and no one in Packer Nation is going to throw the towel in on them either. All right, let's switch.
Throw the towel in this comment. Yeah.
Let's switch to the second quarter.
All right.
We'll talk about Penn State football. And again, it was a big topic for us in the first episode. It's going to be a big topic for us here in episode number 2, and the clock will start right about now. Okay, so Penn State, a great start to the season for them. Those first couple of games on the road at Wisconsin, Tim, and then at home against Ball State. Quick thoughts on the first couple of games. That Wisconsin win was huge.
Offense sputtered. You have to say it. In the first half, they tried to run, they couldn't. Second half, they came out and they had that Big 12 football. They had the air raid offense where I don't think in the third quarter they ran the ball, Chad. I think it was just all passing. And Wisconsin and most teams in the Big Ten have no defense against an air raid offense. And that's why I think Penn State then moved the football. Big win. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the game, but Gus Johnson, who is the broadcaster for Fox, he kept saying, wait until the end of the third quarter for the jump around. I mean, honestly, I've seen the jump around. It's kind of cool, but he was making it sound like this was the next thing since, I'll give you my age here, a sliced bread. I mean, it was nice, but in the entirety we're going to show it. I just thought that was crazy.
I had never seen it. I didn't know it was a thing, but I get why he was making such a big deal because, football was back, fans were back. It's cool. Yeah. It does not even compare in the same stratosphere as the Penn State whiteout.
No, not at all.
That is one of the most electric, crazy, awesome home field advantages in the history of college football. I've never been to one, but I'm assuming you've been to at least a couple, right? I mean,
I've been to most.
What's it like being in that? Again, I'll go back and say that Michigan one where they had to call the timeout before the game even started. One of the most legendary whiteout moments of all time.
Hey, speaking of the whiteout game, you were at the game against Ball State, right?
I went to Ball State. It was fun.
Were you happen to be in the stadium when the teams came out?
Yeah.
I had heard that Penn State was doing something new this year with smoke and lasers. Is that true? Or did they just come out of the
I have
Stadium.
video of the team running out. I don't remember smoke or lasers, but
I wonder if that's something for the whiteout game.
maybe,
I
yeah, it could be. I mean, it
heard
was,
that they were going to be doing some things.
people
so.
were excited for the Ball State game because it was the first home game. Fans were
Right.
back. There was 105,000 people there, and it felt like it kind of felt like church. You know, like it was not as hyped as I thought it was going to
Really?
be. I mean, people were excited. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Like 105,000 people were there, and I felt like they could fit 10,000 more people in there. It just didn't seem normal Penn State, and I don't know if that's because it was Ball State or what, but I don't know. I'm excited that, you know, for them to continue on here with fans. But
But
yeah,
I would have thought they would have been, because I didn't get a chance to go, but I would have thought they would have been just out of their minds, especially with the Wisconsin win.
they were. I mean, maybe I'm underselling it. It was awesome, but it just didn't feel like
Didn't feel
the
right.
Penn
Yeah.
State electricity. I think people just figured we were going to run Ball State out of the stadium. It wasn't a big
Well,
deal.
yeah, and we talked about it at week one. Ball State is a good football team. They
Oh, yeah.
won the MAC last year. They've got a really good coach and a well-disciplined team.
They
Talk
had
about discipline. Yeah,
They
talk
had an
about
8-game
discipline.
winning streak going into that. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the longest in what do they call it? The FBS now.
Yeah. Well, they didn't
I'm
stand a
getting-
chance.
And I tell you what, Chad, one of the worst things that could have happened to Penn State football, I thought, happened over the weekend, this past weekend, when USC fired their coach, Helton.
Oh, you're
And
about to
now
get
the
into
talk-
coach talk. Let's call a timeout here. Let's just call the timeout because I know you're going to get something good here. The clock is at 22:10. So we're almost out of time again. Yeah, we just keep going here, but that's great. Let's call the timeout there. Go ahead into the whole coaching thing because this is a big deal for Penn State fans.
Well, several years ago, when that job was open, James Franklin was really the number one choice. He, pretty much turned it down and sort of parlayed that into getting a huge contract with Penn State.
Sure.
And now what is happening is they fired their coach. Every news outlet out there, even Dan Patrick, is pretty much saying there is tremendous interest between James Franklin and USC. So much so that if USC, as they don't name a head coach as things go on, people might be saying it's James Franklin's. Now, James Franklin, from what I'm hearing, not about him, but I'm wanting to know, like, gosh, he has a great job in Penn State, highest paid person in Pennsylvania as far as government is concerned. He pretty much has everything that he wants, but arguably he plays in the second toughest division in college football.
Sure.
Right? He's got Michigan, he's got Michigan State, he's got Ohio State every year. He goes out to Southern California. The way that guy recruits, he'll get every great player on the West Coast. He'll have unlimited resources out there. And, maybe really that's what he wants. He'll take all the, coaches with him as well. But this is going to be hanging over their head until USC really hires somebody. And I hope that they definitely do. I don't care what Franklin says. He's interested. He's not interested. He doesn't want to talk about it. He obviously is interested in that job. He has to be.
It's a bad thing for Penn State. It's bad timing. He did say he talked to the leadership of the team. I hope they can kind of just push it to the side till the end of the year. And I hope he stays because I do like what he's doing there. But it's
the number one recruiting class next year, Chad. I mean,
currently,
the guy can recruit. He's finally built Penn State back up in a relatively short period of time.
Which is why it would be devastating that he would leave and they'd have to almost go through a rebuilding process with a coach. And so I'm just going to kind of hope that it just, it doesn't happen and we get Franklin for many, many more years. All right, let's restart the clock here. Again, it was at 22:10. So I think we got about 2 minutes till halftime. And remember that big conversation with Penn State alum Graham Zug is coming up. Big Ten confidence, when they start the schedule here for Penn State, it'll start October 2nd at home against Indiana. They'll be in the midst of a 4 home game stand there at that point. Indiana will be the final one. How do you think Penn State stands up in the Big Ten? What is it, the East now, with a good start to the season?
Well, now with Ohio State losing, you wonder just how good or bad Ohio State is. It's one of those things. You're never as bad as you are when you lose. But that's obviously now Penn State fans are, hey, that could be a win. Chad, the game that scares me is the Iowa game. That game, I believe, is the week after Indiana. That Indiana is going to be a revenge game. I think they're just going to hammer Indiana. We all know what happened last year. But then they fly out to Kinnick Stadium out in the middle of nowhere, the Field of Dreams. They could be, ranked. Probably Iowa is going to be, I think they're 6 or 7 right now. They could be in the top 5 of the country. Penn State will be close. That's going to be a huge game. That could be a turnaround game for them.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa had that big win. I think they're top 5 right now. So like
they beat Iowa State. Yeah.
Iowa's in there, and Penn State could climb. Ohio State's falling. Yeah, I mean, it could be a changing of the guard depending on how Ohio State rebounds. I think Penn State could pull it off, but they need to stay healthy, and the offense needs to continue to click and improve.
Yeah, that offense needs to open it up and just keep throwing.
They'll get a bye week after Iowa. So if they could beat Iowa, they'll have Wisconsin, Ball State, Auburn, Villanova, Indiana. So they could potentially be 6-0, 5-1 heading into then Illinois, Ohio State 2 weeks after that. So
if they're 6-0, they beat Iowa. They are legit top 5, top 4 ball club.
I agree. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah. All right. Time's ticking down on us here. We are.
All right. What do we got?
20-minute mark here in just a few seconds. So we're making good time, but certainly.
Well, this goes fast.
We're also running out of time. Yeah. I had to cut it short on the NFL. We could have talked for days on that. Yeah. And we're going to go to halftime here, and we're going to talk with former Penn State wide receiver and former Manheim Central wide receiver, Graham Zug. Excited to hear his thoughts on Penn State this year, being at whiteout games, potentially as a fan. I don't think he ever played in it because I don't think they started it till 2008-ish. Oh, no, maybe he did play in one then. Maybe I'll ask him about that. And then Manheim Central and ask him what he thinks of the Barons and the way they're playing.
Is Graham living in the area?
Oh yeah, he's in the area. He used to coach at Palmyra football.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So he's around.
Okay.
All right. Any question I should ask him when we have?
Nope.
Okay.
I think you're good.
All right. Awesome. Then let's go off the halftime and talk with Graham Zug. All right. It's halftime, and we're really excited to welcome on to 32-minute warning Manheim Central alum, Penn State alum, Graham Zug, played wide receiver at both schools. How are you, sir? You enjoying football? And welcome to the program.
I'm doing great, Chad. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit at Blue Ridge about your wide receiver days, but this will be a little different conversation and a little more fun. So I'm excited to hear about that. And we're actually going to talk about Penn State. I mean, you played for Penn State back, what was it, 2006 to 2009. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, 2010.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, sometimes it goes into the new year for the bowl game, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's start our clock here. And Penn State this year, pretty big expectations coming off of a mediocre year last year, and start the season off pretty good. A big win at Wisconsin, and then Ball State, they handled business there. How do you like this team kind of as they're built in 2021? Have you been able to watch much of their games?
Yeah, I think you got to look at that Wisconsin game. I mean, anytime you can go on the road in a Big Ten environment, especially Wisconsin, and come out of there with a win, that's huge. They got to be feeling good. They got to have momentum. I mean, you're looking at game 3 here with Auburn, whiteout, 7:30 at night. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. In all the games I've played, there's nothing like a whiteout.
So I can't remember. Have you ever played in a whiteout?
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite one?
All of them. I honestly, all I remember is it's loud. Fortunately, it's not as loud when you're on offense.
Okay.
So I didn't have to deal with that, but I did have to deal with it when you're standing on the sideline trying to learn what you're going to do next, and the plays you're going to run, and the coaching points. It's hard to hear then. But all of them, I mean, I can remember my first one with Notre Dame, and that being just absolutely insane the whole way through. So all of them are awesome. I mean, none of them stick out more than another one.
Okay.
They're just incredible games. And, for anybody that hasn't been to one, get to one.
So I've only gotten to watch them on TV. I've never been to one. And this year that's going to continue, but I would like to go to one eventually. It seems like one of the most electric environments to play football in college. I know people talk about the SEC and all of that, and there are some good environments, but when you get that 110,000 people all in white screaming and it's so loud, can you describe to people around the nation that might not necessarily appreciate it or have ever been there like me, what makes it so special?
Everything. I mean, you look around, it's literally just white. I mean, you got 110,000 fans buying into one thing of wearing white and being extremely loud. I mean, I think you've seen Kirk Herbstreit say it himself. He's been to every stadium probably. There's nothing like it.
We go to a lot of big games, a lot of big settings. There's nothing like the whiteout at Happy Valley.
When that stadium's filled for the whiteout, you know, it's always loud for every game. But somehow those fans that show up for the whiteout, you know, it's amazing. It's decibels and decibels louder in that stadium for the entire game. You know, and even at halftime, it's still loud. It doesn't matter. It keeps going. And you know what's even crazier is, you know, you got 110,000 inside the stadium. You probably have another however many 100,000 outside that couldn't get in.
Yeah.
It's just insane. I mean, there's nothing like it in college football. I've played in the SEC. I've played in road games. I've played in other Big Ten environments. There is nothing like a whiteout.
That's kind of how I feel, but you know, it gets scoffed at around the nation, you know, from, I'm sure, the Alabama fans and the Georgia and the Florida fans and all that. But yeah, I love watching it every year. They're doing two of them this year. One's kind of a modified like student section whiteout, but you know, that's just going to turn into another whiteout. And so for Penn State, you'd have to think their chances this year in the Big Ten are pretty good. And obviously Ohio State's looming, Iowa's pretty good, and some other teams, but I'd have to think, you know, Penn State has a pretty good shot here at winning or at least competing for the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, their schedule's not easy. But, you know, one thing that's special about any college football team is if you want to be the best, you know, you got to beat the best. And they got the team to do it. They got the coaching staff to do it. They got the recruits coming in left and right. You know, Coach Franklin, in my opinion, is probably the best recruiting coach in the nation. You know, he's not handed things like Coach Saban is with Alabama, where they're constantly in the top. You know, we go through at Penn State with top academics, the whole thing, the whole spectrum, every sport. And you talk about recruiting and getting kids to the middle of nowhere. I mean, Coach Franklin's doing it. You know, and that's not an easy task. But I think he's probably the best recruiter in the nation, and it shows. Guys want to play for him. Guys want to stay and play for him.
I've always said
a great job.
His pitch in the living room must be amazing. I'd love to be like a fly on the wall, just recording and listening and be like, yeah, it's pretty good. I'd probably go there too, you know?
I was fortunate enough to hear him speak at the Man on Touchdown Club years back. And I remember walking out, I'll never forget what my wife looked at me, and we kind of looked at each other and started laughing. And I said, I can see why these kids want to play for him. And she said, yeah, like I walked out of here just wanting to be his friend. I mean, it's, you know, there we were already graduates of Penn State. And I mean, he didn't even do a sales pitch to us and we were ready to play for him.
Yeah, it must be special. And I know Penn State's very lucky and the fans are lucky to have him. Hey, let's switch to your high school days real quick, because those Manheim Central Barons seem to be right back buzzing to where they were just a few years ago, winning district titles. Have you gotten to see a whole lot of what they're doing? They are off to a very impressive start this season.
Hey, let's go, man. The Barons are back and they're going. And I'm pumped up. I was with a couple of their fans this past weekend at my sister's wedding, and man, they're special. I knew the one coach there at Cumberland Valley, and he texted me. You know, I always get texts from coaches and that are going to play at Manheim because they know it's something special. And he texted me and I said, hey, you know, how are you guys looking? He said, I think we're the real deal. Well, Manheim beat them. So, you know, fair and square. I think Manheim's for real. I mean, I think they're back. Again, just like Penn State, they got the tough schedule. You want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I think both Penn State and Manheim, and they can do it. They can come out on top every week. You know, they could be the favorite in every week, and they deserve to be. I mean, Coach Hahn's doing a great job there.
He is. I really like what Coach Hahn is doing. And in fact, I believe in the first 3 weeks of the season, I have it here, they have outscored opponents 109-7, which is obscene. And again, those two shutouts. Their schedule, going forward. They do play Wilson in week 5 and then Warwick in week 6. So that's a tough spot right there for them. Those are two traditionally really good teams.
They got a tough one this week too with Perkiomen Valley.
Okay.
So,
I don't know a whole lot about them, but I'm assuming Manheim can handle that.
I think the one guy I coached with, he coaches there, and I think he said one time they had like 30 receivers. And here, Manheim sits at a team, probably in the 50s, and it's crazy. So they can play football.
Well, the good news for Manheim is you can only play a couple receivers at a time. So
that's right. No, but hey, I think you got to remember. I mean, Coach Hahn, he played with Coach Franklin, so I'm sure their mentalities, they keep in touch. Those mentalities are going. So if Coach Franklin has those players being positive, I'm sure Coach Hahn does as well.
All right, we got less than 30 seconds here. When you think back to your Manheim career, and then you think back to kind of the team that they have, these past couple of years, is there somebody that's been in the program that reminds you of you? Is there anybody
this year?
What, this year or last couple of years? Is there anybody that's come through that you've been like, that guy kind of reminds me of me? Nobody's really been. Well, there's our time right at the buzzer. But I want to hear this answer.
Honestly, I'm not sure. There's been a couple that have gone through there. Jake Novak did a really good job years back.
Oh yeah.
But unfortunately, since I was coaching, I didn't really get to see a lot of the Manheim games, so I was kind of going off of stats, and obviously that's hard to do, knowing that the game is different now than it was before. But I don't know. I'd have to ask Coach Williams and Coach Hahn that. They'd have to give me that answer, because
they'd probably say no. They'd say no.
I'll never forget. I definitely had to work for it, because I remember my sophomore year, I dropped the ball in practice, and Coach Williams told me, you drop another one, I'll send you down the middle school team. So I couldn't catch the ball through middle school, and I got there my sophomore year and started catching things, because I think he scared me so bad.
Was that sophomore year? Was that 2003?
Yeah.
That was the state title year.
Yeah. That was the year Sean Wilt tore his ACL early on, and that allowed me to start playing. And that's when I got yelled at and told I was going to go to the middle school team, and it motivated me. I mean, he was right. I shouldn't drop a ball. I'm a receiver. Don't drop a pass. Come on.
So you literally got to get on the team and play for the only state title team in the history of that program. That's amazing. Great timing.
Yeah. Oh, it was phenomenal. Those seniors were incredible. That line, any team that has a stud line is going to do damage in high school football.
Yeah, with the Hershey boys, the Hershey twins, right?
Yeah, the Hershey twins, and Mike Byrne went to Delaware, and Rob Travado, and
I'll tell you a funny story. One of the Hershey boys is my neighbor up here.
Okay.
So every now and then I'll ask him questions about that game. I'll be like, how was that? Was that awesome or what? So last question for you. Are you able to go back to Manheim and basically get food wherever you want for free? I mean, how does that work?
No, I don't know. I can blend in. I'm not a 6'6", 310-pound lineman that stands out in a crowd.
Are you 6'4"?
So no, I blend in. Just under 6'3". Okay. I used to say I was 6'4", but just under 6'3". But no, Manheim Twin Kiss, my grandfather gave them a picture of me, and it used to be up front shortly after my playing days. I think when I was in Penn State or right after graduating, it used to be right up front where you order, your burgers and all that stuff. Since then, it's moved back. It's right back by the bathrooms now. Uh-oh. So every once in a while, I get a picture from a friend or somebody swinging by Manheim, and there's a picture in there of me. But no, I wouldn't want anything for free. Manheim was too special to me, and it's got a special place in my heart. And I look forward, now that I'm not coaching, to get back and watch a bunch of games.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they'd love to have you. And again, Manheim could go on quite a pretty crazy run here. So looking forward
maybe in about 12 weeks, I won't have to travel far. I can meet him in Hershey and watch him.
Is that where you're up around Hershey now?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So.
How would you like to see Manheim Central versus Governor Mifflin in the district championship game? Boy, that would be fantastic.
Be phenomenal, man. Yeah. You got one of the top running backs in the state, if not the top running back, and probably the nation too. Yeah. And Manheim's defense is always a tough one. So love those matchups.
Cool. Hey, Graham, thanks so much for coming on and sharing some time with us. We appreciate it. And I always just enjoy hearing Penn State and Manheim stories.
Anytime. Let's do it again.
For sure. All right, man. You have a great rest of your week, and enjoy those Barons. Enjoy the whiteout with Penn State, and we'll catch you again.
I'll be there.
All righty. See ya.
We'll see you. Thanks.
All right, we're back here. Thanks to Graham Zug for joining us at halftime. I just love talking to these players that have gone on and really been a part of big time programs. And of course, being a part of Manheim Central and Penn State can't get much bigger than that. So thanks to Graham. I hope everybody enjoys that conversation. And we're just going to transition right into high school football because it's that time of year and things are just starting to heat up as right now at the time of our recording, we're going into week 4, but we've got the second half of the season coming our way. So Tim, let's start the clock. We're at 20 minutes to go in the show here. So we are down below 20 minutes. We're down to 12 minutes now. So,
all right,
boy,
that's fine.
We've got to get ourselves rocking and rolling here. But let's talk some high school football and let's see what you think about those Manheim Central Barons. They had probably one of the worst years in the history of their program last year, but they're bouncing back strong this year and have absolutely dominated their first couple of opponents, are rising up the state and District 3 rankings. And at the end of week 3, they had outscored their opponents like 109-7, which is just obscene, Tim. How impressive have you been with Manheim Central this year?
Well, I picked them second, I think, in the section behind Cocalico now, with their injuries.
We both were kind of feeling that way, yeah. I
tell you what, they obviously were in a rebuilding year next year. This year, they are not in a rebuilding year. They are just going strong. They dismantled a great program in Cumberland Valley in week 1. That's where their 7 points actually came from. And then the game that we had on Blue Ridge, they beat Hempfield 14-0 in a game that really their defense played really, really great. They bent, but they did not break. Yeah. Offense sputtered a little bit, and then they just throttled a very good Susquehanna Township team up in the Harrisburg area. This team is better than I can imagine that they would be. Offense, they obviously can score points, but boy, that defense just looks tremendous. You give up 7 points in 3 games. My goodness, no one's beaten you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think they're back to being contenders, not only in the section, but in the district, if they really have things going, and it seems like they do. And you're talking about some of those stats and things, and it's just like, wow, they have been absolutely dominant. And it's just wild to think that they could bounce back so fast.
That quickly. And they're doing it with a balanced offensive attack as well, passing and running. And that's what those great Manheim Township teams did, Chad, in the past years. You couldn't really look at, I'm going to stop the quarterback, I'm going to stop a running back, I'm going to stop a wide receiver. They've got a bunch. Heffernan, they've got a good wide receiver in Owen.
Sensenig, yep.
Yeah, Sensenig. And of course, Novak. That's a 3-headed monster right there. And you've got 3 or 4, good players. But really, it all starts up front. They protect Novak well.
Well, it sounds like their lines, their offense and defensive line are so much better. They're light years away. Mm-hmm. And so that, it springboards Manheim Central into that Section 2 championship conversation. And they play Warwick in week 6 coming up, which is a big deal. I mean, that basically could decide the section there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there. And then, as they go along, we've got big games at the end of the year too, but week 6, which we'll have that on Blue Ridge, by the way. So again, just makes my job so much more fun and exciting.
Oh yeah. I love the high school football, but you got 2 really good teams. Speaking of Warwick, I didn't get a chance to be at the War on last Friday night, but I know Ephrata did not win. They dropped to 2-1. Still a good season, obviously. But you were telling me about Weidman, just how that kid just looked. 190 some yards?
191 yards. Yeah. And let me read you what he's done this year on the ground. So in those 3 games, again, at the time of this taping, we've only seen 3 games. So in the first week against Muhlenberg, 143 yards, 3 touchdowns. Second week against Palmyra, 163 yards, 3 touchdowns, career high. Week 3 against Warwick, 191 yards, 1 touchdown, new career high. Didn't run a whole lot in the fourth quarter because Ephrata's quarterback got hurt and they were down big. So Think about that. Could have gone over 200 yards. He's over 140 yards in each game. He's a horse.
Kid is only a junior, and I know there's some schools looking at him right now, correct? I know.
Yeah, I mean,
D2
he's getting recruited out the
D3.
wazoo. I don't know
Yeah,
this,
I'm sure there's going to be some D1 schools looking.
but
at
he's
him.
only a junior. So
Yeah, and once you start running like that now, the first 3 games, he is getting noticed. Has to be.
yeah. So I think Ephrata, if now they lost their quarterback, but if he can
Yeah.
kind of do what he does and they can find somebody to do quarterback, I think they can win enough games to make the playoffs. I'm really rooting for that because I think it hasn't happened since like 2003 or something like that.
Hmm.
So it's going on like 18
Back
years.
when you were in diapers, Chad.
Back when I was in college. Yeah, so unless I was wearing diapers in college, which I wasn't. But yeah,
Hey,
so
and speaking of their crosstown rivals, what's going on with Cacalico? Boy, I know that the injury bug but boy, you get shut out by a
well,
good Governor Mifflin team. I get it, but man, I just never thought I'd see it.
you can't hold anything against them for that Governor Mifflin game. Nick Singleton, the stud running back for them as a senior for Governor Mifflin, who is going committed to Penn State, one of the best running backs in the nation, had like 5 touchdowns in the first half and then just sat the rest of the game. That's how dominant he was. That's how
my
dominant
gosh.
Governor Mifflin is. They have now been moved up to the #1 team in Pennsylvania in 5A. They
Oh,
are
wow.
amazing. I don't see them losing all season, honestly. So to lose
Well,
to that
now
team,
they're in the Berks County League, for the last year.
they're not losing
They've
in Berks.
already-
Probably not
they've
losing
already
in District
killed-
3.
Yeah. They
We'll
killed
see.
Wilson, right? The first week of the season, I believe.
They had Wilson in there. I think
Yeah.
week 2, I think, is Wilson.
Okay.
And they just smoked him. So, we just missed our time there. Boy, we went
Oh,
over.
no.
Wow. Man, we got to pay attention to that clock. We get going on high school football. I do want to talk about Warwick real quick while we have a little bit
Yeah.
of extended time here. They look pretty good in the George Mail Trophy game, by the way. We shouldn't gloss over that. When you got Jack Reed tossing the ball, you've got Cooper Eckert and Ryan Fink catching the ball, and then you've got Christian Royer running the ball. I mean, it's not the same names as last year for Warwick, but they just found new names, and they're continuing to do the same thing, and they are title contenders in Section 2, which is why I said week 6, Warwick,
It's gonna be a
Manheim,
big game.
that could decide Section 2.
I'm glad that Warwick is having a successful season. And it seems like that they finally got Bob Locker's got a system there now that he can just sort of plug and play players in there. So I'm looking forward. I actually thought at the beginning of the season, the section game might be Cacalico and Central, I think in week 9 or 10.
10.
But I think you're right now, Chad, the way we're going at it, taping as a week 3, it's going to be week 6.
Yeah, which is amazing. And I'm so happy to have it on the channel. Then
Oh, yeah.
Warwick plays Cacalico in week 9 and Cacalico plays Manheim week 10. So there could still be a little bit, depending on health,
Of
what
jockeying,
happens there.
right.
But yeah, I do. And Warwick was kind of mad at us for not giving them, the players, their credit. We thought they were all going to just, fold up and go 0-10, they were saying. But
Were they really?
they were not happy with our predictions. And neither was Manheim. But hey,
Hey, well, that just means that they're watching. But hey, look, predictions are so hard, and it's everybody says, "Who do you think's going to win? Who's going to the Super Bowl? Who's going to go to the playoffs?" Well, you're just making a guess and a judgment based on what you know in front of you, right? Based on what they have coming back, what they are doing last season. Those predictions change. Our predictions would be totally different if we did them now
no, I agree.
with the NFL, everything. But
I know. It changes. It changes and it adapts. All right. 3 quarters in the books. It goes so fast. So we've got to get
does.
set here for the 4th quarter. All right. Back here with the 4th quarter on 32-minute warning. Thanks for lasting this long. And we're going to have a little bit of fun. We've already talked about all the serious stuff. So it's time to have some fun. And Tim wanted to toss around some food topics here, which is sports related when you're out tailgating. And why not? Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? So we've got 5 minutes and 53 seconds left on the clock. Still
right.
have our timeout for the second half here. But we'll get that started right now. And Tim, let's go with some favorite foods to tailgate with. And of course, you do a lot of Penn State games, so I'm sure you know all about that kind of stuff up there.
Yeah, a lot of tailgating up at Penn State. A lot of it has to do, though, Chad, what you're going to prepare when the game is, right? Because Penn State can play at 12, at noon. They can play at 3:30 usually. Sometimes they're on a late Fox game at 6, and then sometimes they're on at 7:30. So it depends. Like the Auburn game coming up, they're going to be tailgating all day. A noon kickoff, that is tough. That's a sprint because you're leaving the area, drive up there maybe 6 o'clock. You're getting up there at 8. You're not going to be wanting to eat ribs and walking tacos, Chad, and chips at 8 o'clock in the morning. So usually what we do is we get a grill out. We bring up some eggs and we sort of fry them up. We get some sausage and bacon and maybe have a little adult beverage with that as well. Quick story. We were at a tailgate. It was a whiteout game. This goes back 3 or 4 years ago. My wife was on ESPN. They actually had a camera coming around to show all the tailgating. They showed she was cooking eggs and stuff like that. So yeah, it was really kind of cool. The adult beverages, they flow around, but the whole thing is you really have to pace yourself, Chad. I mean, it's water and water and water and maybe something else. But it's all good fun. There's lots of cheese that you can do. The big thing right now with my tailgate crew, it's giant fried chicken right now. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, fried chicken. And chicken wings, they always come out. So it's a sort of a potpourri. The bad part about it is on Sundays, your stomach is just riddled because you never eat that stuff.
Yeah.
All at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a lot of hot dogs when I was up there for the Penn State Ball State game. And also that was a 3:30 game, which I thought was perfect because we rolled into town at I want to say noon, or maybe it was 11. We went and ate. And then by the time you're done eating and you're having some beverages, it's time to go in the stadium and enjoy the game.
Right.
So it's a nice cushion. My concern is if it's that 7:30 whiteout game and you're drinking all day, because people will do that. How do you even walk into the stadium? Right. Well, so I would be concerned about that. It'd be interesting to see how you pace yourself, but
I've seen people chat. Yeah, I've seen people. Sorry, they have been passed out. They don't even make it into the stadium,
which is the dumbest thing ever.
You're so stinking tired, to be honest, after the game because those games are 3.5, 4-hour television games. So it's 11:30 and you're walking out of there dead tired and you have to drive home. That's crazy.
I was so thankful I didn't have to drive. But so I'd imagine I'd be doing hot dogs, chips, drinks, just stuff that you didn't want to barf up later, hopefully. But I love wings. I'm a big wings guy. So I don't know.
Are you really?
Could I work the wings into the tailgating? That's what I'd want to find out. Because
speaking of what, are you like a buffalo wing guy?
I like barbecue. Anything like barbecue wings, barbecue ribs, barbecue pulled pork barbecue. Oh, sign me up for that. That would be fantastic.
I'm a big barbecue. I'll do the barbecue pork stuff, but I don't like barbecue sauce on things. It's just kind of weird. Now, I'll eat the buffalo wings, but not barbecue wings.
Yeah, you give me
throwing the flag at you because
oh my god,
terrible.
So a lot of times 2-minute warning we just hit.
All right, 2-minute warning. All right, quick.
Yes. My top 5 favorite foods is lasagna, pierogies, pulled pork barbecue, homemade mac and cheese, and then it's usually a delicious homemade soft pretzel or something.
Wow. What was your first one?
Lasagna. Yeah.
Really, your number one food.
Oh yeah, heck yeah. You sign me up for a good lasagna and I'll do that any day. Pierogies. And then you get pulled pork barbecue and mac and cheese at the same dinner party. Oh, I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven. So
give me a good steak or burger. And I know I should cut down the red meat, but boy, I like that. I like fried chicken.
Yeah.
But really, if I could have any meal, it would be a Thanksgiving type meal.
Right, but you can't tailgate that. You can't tailgate that.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but boy, I'd love.
Oh, we're gonna hit the 1 minute mark here. Let's call a timeout because we don't want to run out of time on this conversation. So let's call our timeout in the second half. Boy, the food conversation is great. I love talking about it. But we've got to.
Speaking,
Go
you
ahead.
said chips. Chips are a big deal going up to tailgating, and chips for me, I like the ones that are cooked in pure lard with a little bit of salt. I don't want to give out any names. I think Diefenbach's locally has them, but yeah, I love those crunchy kettle cooked chips. If there's anything that is my downfall in life, it's too many chips. I try to cut down, and too much ice cream.
Oh yeah, that Penn State ice cream, by the way. I didn't get any.
Oh man, is that good?
Didn't get any.
Creamery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but right near the Bryce Jordan Center, usually the Creamery has a huge stand there.
We walked by the ice hockey and the Bryce Jordan. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But we were trying to make a beeline to get back to our car real quick so we can head
I'll
in.
eat ice cream at 8 o'clock in the morning on a cold day if it's Creamery ice cream.
Hey, we've got a minute before I restart the clock. Is there anything else we got to squeeze in on the show before we end it here, Tim?
I think we're good. Other than the Ryder Cup is coming up, and this is a biannual golf tournament. It's obviously teams. USA versus Europe.
Yeah.
It's going to be played in Wisconsin this year. Next year, I believe it's in Italy. Europeans have a great team led by John Rahm, of course, the United States, led by DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson. But it's just kind of cool to see. I like to watch it. It's going to be a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it's just neat to see all the patriotism coming out on the European side and on the American side. So it's just something that you don't get to see a while. You don't get to see team golf. You don't get to see a lot of people doing high fives and, pumping fists, but I love the Ryder Cup.
Well, and if it's on American soil, which you said it's in Wisconsin, that gives those American fans a chance to get real rowdy. And I think Phil Mickelson is involved. I don't know if he's
he's an assistant coach.
Yeah. So he'll get the troops fired up for the, as far as the guys. But yeah, that should be exciting. It's tough though, because if it's the 24th, 25th, and 26th, that's high school football on Friday, college football on Saturday, NFL football on Sunday. How am I supposed to sneak this in?
Well, that's the problem. It's, very tough. You just have to get everything on your phone, walk around with your phone and your iPad.
Oh, here we go. And there's the buzzer right there. Boy.
Oh, there we go. The buzzer.
We hit 32 minutes. Yeah. So, are you going to watch? You're going to watch it a little bit?
The Ryder Cup?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I'll try to.
Okay.
Yep.
I can't promise I'll watch it, but I'll do
my best. And the Phillies
just
get this in, they still stink.
Oh, hey, I was just looking to see if it would interfere with the Cowboys. They play the Eagles on Monday, the 27th. So there you go.
You could essentially watch the finals of the Ryder Cup on Sunday.
There you go. I guess we could watch it on Sunday now because our teams are playing on Monday, which you were saying you thought the Cowboys had a Monday night game.
Yeah.
And they do.
Boy, they play the Eagles early, isn't it? Early on the schedule?
Yeah, week 3, but then they get week.
I think it's almost at the end, isn't it?
Week 18, last game
in Philly. Oh my, it's going to be cold.
Philly, January 9th at 1:00. Ooh,
have you ever been down there for an Eagles Cowboys game, Delaney?
I don't think I could go in because I would get beat up by the Eagles fans. So,
well, would you? If you had an opportunity to go, would you wear Cowboys gear or just go?
There's no way you can. Eagles fans are so unruly and out of control. You can't show up in that stadium with Cowboy stuff on. You look at one person and they punch you in the face. It's like I would never do that. Hey,
where's Chad? Well, they stuffed him under his seat.
Yeah, Eagles fans already hate me on social media, and now I'm going to show up in their stadium with a Cowboys jersey on. That's just like suicide.
Would you wear an Eagles jersey to go in and watch the Cowboys play?
I can't, because then somebody could take a picture and that could wind up on social media.
Well, Chad, you're like me. You put an Eagles jersey on, you'd probably break out. So
yeah, I probably would.
Yeah.
All right, hey Tim, we made it to
episode
2. Thank you so much for hopping on here. Good And
Good
we'll
show.
see how people like the show again. We'll keep going. We'll pick it up here in a couple of weeks. Again, remember, everybody watching, if you've made it this far on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, and keep watching out for those alerts when we will have episode 3. Not sure when it'll be nailed down, but we're excited for that. Tim, thank you for joining me, my
Sure,
friend.
Chad.
And
Good job running the show.
look forward to some more good Cowboys, Eagles, and Penn State and all of that stuff going on.
All right, Chad. Take care, man.
All right, bud. We'll see you later.
Yep. Bye.